Sonny B2 made a video on James Corden. When did he post that? That must be new. Oh yeah, that's new. I didn't see that go up. Oh. God damn. James Corden. Yeah, alright. We got to check in with our boy James Corden.
James Corden has slowly developed one of the worst reputations in media history.
You're goddamn right.
The foundation for his decline began when people started to realize that James Corden was a completely different person when he wasn't on camera.
That's not even where I started hating him. It was almost immediately. He has never even remotely come close to putting a smile on my face, and yet he is in everything. He is in everything, everywhere. It's miserable.
As an actor and the main host of The Late Late Show, James presents as a happy, polite, easygoing comedian whose goal is to simply make the audience laugh. Although there's a mountain of evidence
very
showing
unsuccessfully.
That in his private life he's the exact opposite to this, with his rude nature developing after he first became famous back in 2008. As a result of his excellent performance on a British TV show called Gavin and Stacey, James would win the British equivalent of an Oscar, although accompanying this award was an ego boost that began to get out of control.
You can start to think you're perhaps a bit more of a dude than you really are, and that very much happened to me. You know, I had a swagger in my walk.
As mentioned, James Corden's sudden explosion into fame led him to believe that he was more of a
well
dude
earned
than he really was, which would eventually translate into him treating everyone around him like garbage. James explained that as 2008 wore on, it got so bad I was being rude to my agent, and I even started being rude to Ruth. If I was in company and the conversation wasn't revolving around me, I would just switch off. In addition to being rude to...
Not surprised. Also, again, not the reason I can't stand this fucking guy. Don't know who Ruth is, though. She probably didn't deserve it. Justice for Ruth. Unlucky.
Everyone around him, Corden began to live a typically irresponsible, newly famous lifestyle.
I'd started going out quite a lot. This door had opened to this world that I thought looked like fun, where people go, you're amazing, you're great, can I have a photo? Do you want a drink? Come out with us. And so you just end up on this path of just 3 a.m. cab rides with people you don't know, heading across London to someone's house who you don't know either, with a group of people.
That just sounds dangerous.
It's amazing that you're there. This is an intoxicating thing to be part of.
All of which being noticed by another Gavin and Stacey actor, Rob Brydon, who explained that when he first met James Corden 6 years prior, he was very impressed by him, yet after winning the Oscar award, James Corden was on a roller coaster. This boy from High Wycombe, and he's suddenly enjoying the fruits of his success, and he just lost his way for a bit. He was burning the candle at both ends and becoming ratty and irritable.
I never even knew all this about him.
His streak of irresponsibility came to an end after attending 18 months of therapy, although even after this, there were still countless examples of him treating people like garbage. For example, James Corden stated in a BBC4 interview that he needed to bully his way to the top of the media world, which can be observed in certain events such as the time he get into a public argument with another incredibly respected actor, Patrick Stewart, whilst on stage.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards,
hide your belly or something.
Back of the stage,
that's
with
what he
your
says.
Hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it.
After Patrick Stewart would confront James about looking
it was really uncomfortable.
The argument would escalate in front of everyone.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Which was concluded by James and Patrick bickering in the background while someone else...
So, I will say Patrick Stewart doesn't look really good there either. I don't know how many of you have seen that. Patrick Stewart also didn't come out looking like amazing. But per usual, it's James Corden that looks worse. Just an insufferable, unlikable, unenjoyable asshole that somehow is fucking everywhere like this goddamn parasite. I don't know how he's infested everything in Hollywood, but it really feels like he has a minor role in every single movie. He's in shows. He's got the worst late night television program of all time, but thank God that's coming to an end. Like, it just blows my mind. I've never met someone who is a James Corden fan ever in my life. So I don't know where his success is even coming from. Thanks to the resub, JF, Coffee, Bats, Jedi, Bojangle, and the gift sub. Anastasia and resub Caxi and Prime Red. The bits Quackle and resub Mally. I've also never been asked if I like James Corden. Yeah, because it's just an assumed no. No one ever defends him when he gets dunked online. No one ever says, man, anyone see that new James Corden bit? What a banger. It's just all bad. I never knew he was a jerk. I mean, I didn't either, to be fair. Like, that's honestly, like, the least of his problems. He's just so unlikable, like, as an actor, as a host. He doesn't make me laugh. Or anybody laugh. So him being an asshole is just a cherry on top. Thanks for resub Killer Elite and the bits Tommy.
Else was talking on the microphone. Now, to cut James some slack, Patrick Stewart was probably in the wrong here, considering he was the person who began the argument. Interestingly, after James Corden gave him a very favourable introduction.
What was really confusing about it was that I gave him like a massive intro.
Yeah, I know.
I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an actor who's held in such high esteem. Please welcome the brilliant Sir Patrick Stewart. And then he...
Yeah, like I said, Patrick didn't
Although
look good
James
here.
still decided to engage and clap back with a few jabs of his own, so it's safe to say that he also had some degree of responsibility. There are other examples of similar situations where James has acted rudely, however only after being provoked by someone else first. Countless paparazzi videos show James walking through Los Angeles looking quite angry and disinterested, although having a camera involuntarily shoved
Well,
in
yeah,
his
everyone
face
hates the
probably doesn't
paparazzi,
facilitate
obviously.
the best environment for a good mood. There was also the time when Ant and Dec played a prank on James Corden, attempting to make him late for work, although considering they were literally going out of their way to make him angry, James probably gets another pass here. However, when James Corden would post one of the most brutal Reddit Ask Me Anythings in internet
he did an AMA?
fan interactions were highlighted, which James had absolutely no excuse for. Hey James, you won't remember me, but me and my friend sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles plus some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled dick who yelled and treated the waitstaff like shit, and when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening. So my question is this: why did Harry seem so cool while you were such a massive throbbing bellend? This post was followed by another which read, I went to a James Corden live recording a while back.
Again, it is Reddit. This is like a source trust me bro situation, or that happened shit. Like, there's no way to corroborate that. But I also wouldn't be surprised if that's a legitimate story, right? Like, I could see it. I could absolutely see it. But it is, again, like, anecdotal. No way of knowing for sure. Thanks for some CMD, ID, Gandalf, and the Prime Coldfire. Even the James Corden subreddit hates him. Well, that was started to insult him. Like, that it was never like a James Corden fan subreddit.
He had nearly zero interaction with the audience before/after the show, and was on his phone entirely during commercial breaks. I guess that's his prerogative. He may have been having a bad day. I also realize it must be difficult to be on all the time, but I remember being extremely disappointed. By comparison, I've been to a Jimmy Fallon recording and a Letterman recording, and I can say with full conviction that those guys really seemed like they cared about their audience and worked their hardest to entertain them, even while the cameras weren't recording.
Fair,
which is followed by one final anecdote reading, massive dick in person. I saw a League of Their Own filming live. Through multiple tantrums over minor things at the production staff, with him being incredibly rude to them, which made the other regulars seem very awkward like it was usual. Between each take, the other celebs would be chatting amongst themselves, bantering about. James was glued to his phone. At the end of the filming, people got up to go get pictures with James, and he massively kept off shouting at people to go away and go back to their seats. And the few he did let have pictures
James
with
Corden
him
pictures?
Seeing him like that made me realize everything you see of his on TV is a complete persona. When continuing on through the AMA, it becomes pretty obvious as to why James Corden only answered 3 different questions before calling it quits. Why are you, James, such a deeply unpleasant person? Did your parents raise you that way? Have you ever considered being funny or likable? James, are you aware that everyone thinks you're a hack and a talentless asshat? With his third comment here relating to the next reason behind James Corden's decline. Many of his on-screen performances have simply...
Let's go, yep.
A petition
That was a dumb idea to begin with.
Not be cast in Wicked the movie gained close to 110,000 signatures, and after Friends announced that James Corden would be hosting the TV show's 15-year reunion, he'd received Twitter responses such as, "Don't get me wrong, I've been wanting a Friends reunion since 2004, but if someone told me James Corden would be in it, I'd have told them not to bother." James Corden adding the Friends reunion to the list of things he's ruined with his mere presence.
True,
Additionally, after
super
starring as
true.
the main character in the 2019 film Cats, the movie received a
Okay, to be fair, James Corden is not the main character in Cats. He plays Fat Cat. Like, he's not a main character. He's just, once again, a miserable presence, like this miasma of anguish that haunts the film. I mean, it's a bad film without him, but it's a worse film with him. He's not the main character, though. In fact, I can't think of a single movie where he is the main character. He's just always some minor role or even a side character, recurring character, and just his presence brings the whole thing down to a screeching halt. Peter Rabbit. Oh, he voices Peter Rabbit, doesn't he? I haven't watched Peter Rabbit. But yeah, you're right, he does voice Peter Rabbit. Thanks for resub, Winry, John, and Wolf. Oh, that's super sweet. Well, hey, happy anniversary, Winry. Thanks for resub, Toaster, Bear, and JD, and Tyson.
2.8 out of 10 star rating on IMDb, as well as reviews so awful that James Corden didn't even end up watching the movie himself. However, James stating that he didn't watch the movie wasn't the only thing that was interesting about this interview, as he'd also discussed another topic which had turned much of his audience against him, his beef with another talk show host, Bill Maher. In September of 2019, Bill Maher published an editorial about obesity, with the contents of such being discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Look, you can't keep eating as much as you want and as shitty a food as you want. You just can't.
That is not something anybody wants to hear, though.
People loved it until James Corden said something.
As mentioned, James Corden wasn't too happy with these comments and would call Bill Maher out by making both some reasonable arguments.
If making fun of fat people made them lose weight, there'd be no fat kids in schools and I'd have a six-pack by now.
As well as some awful ones, such as a zero personal responsibility statement that Bill Maher was simply lucky to have a body that burned more calories than him.
We're not all as lucky as Bill Maher, you know? We don't all have a sense of superiority that burns 35,000 calories a day.
Which Bill interpreted as the easy, low-risk way out of the argument.
He missed a great opportunity to literally save lives. He took the easy way out. Of course, you can always get applause for saying, oh, let's boo the mean man who told the truth. That's not brave.
As is usually the case with these kinds of topics, there were supporters for both sides of the argument. However, James unnecessarily forcing himself into such a divisive conversation where people already disagree with him was probably a net negative toward his reputation, just like the time his carpool karaoke was outed for being fake.
Oh, that was a rough day for all of us.
Drives around singing songs with various famous musicians was called out by a user on Twitter in early 2020 after they noticed Justin Bieber and James Corden in a car, which wasn't being driven but rather being pulled on a trailer. The video would rack up over 14 million views, which prompted an incredibly hilarious response from James Corden himself, in which he would go ahead and debunk the claim that the series had been faked.
95% of the time, I really am endangering the lives of the world's biggest pop stars.
Well, that's
Here
bullshit.
is a list of every carpool karaoke where I've used a tow, and this is a list of every one where I was driving the car, okay?
However, while Corden did a pretty good job of debunking these claims, there are still countless comments on every carpool karaoke from people who never saw the
I still just don't
debunked
believe him.
videos
Like, just
fake.
straight
This
up.
all feels so fake when you know he's not actually driving. Fake news, James isn't actually driving. James Corden, stop cheating people with your carpool karaoke. Can't believe all these celebrities put up with this fake show. Next time at least drive the damn car.
Who cares? That's a big who gives a fuck. Oh my god, he's not actually driving. It's ruined. It's fucking ruined. No! It's absolute garbage in the first place. It's fucking boring is the problem. Whether he's driving or not. Unless he is literally driving these fucking celebrities through flaming hoops in a monster truck and then crushing school buses, I don't care. It's a boring show. It's fucking miserable. I don't care if he's driving or being towed. It's just a bad show. It has nothing to do with whether or not he's legitimately driving or not. He's a resub. Razia, Shroom, Agate, Viable, and Asvi. And Prime Mad. In the bits, Georgia. Monster truck carpool karaoke would go hard as fuck. See, like, that has real merit, right? Like, put the celebrity guests in some legitimate peril and see how they perform. I think that'd be cool. Here's a little free idea. This is something we considered doing a long time ago. I mean, shit, maybe we still will. Probably not, though. We were going to try and do, like, celebrity guests in, like, perilous situations. So, like, operating a tank while they perform or something. We didn't really flesh it out because we realized it was undoable. But, like, that idea is kind of hype. As long as the celebrity's, like, on board, like, knowingly. You can't just catch them off guard with, like, a life-threatening situation. Thanks the resub Silverleaf and Yertle, the Prime Snurt. What makes it undoable? Getting the actual shit, like a tank. Like, what do you mean? Like, is it? It's not hard to. I mean, it's not easy to get that kind of shit. We'd have to literally go out to Texas or Las Vegas to do that, and that's just not viable.
It seems like even when James Corden is in the right, his audience selectively decides that he's still in the wrong, which has also been speculated as part of the reason behind his recent announcement that he's leaving the public spotlight. On the 29th of April 2022,
let's go.
James Corden would upload a video to his YouTube channel.
Best thing he's ever done.
James Corden discusses his late night future, in which he'd announced that he'd only be hosting the show for 1 more year.
I've decided to sign for 1 more year on the show, and that this will be my
longest
last
365 days of television.
In a different interview, James Corden specified that his motive for leaving the entertainment industry was to spend more time with his family.
I don't want to do it forever. We're a really long way away from home, and we're a really long way away from people who are getting older, and we're a really long way from them if something should ever happen, and that plays on my mind a lot.
However, many have speculated that being such a disliked celebrity has put an unbearable amount of pressure on him, which becomes especially obvious when looking at the comments regarding his retirement. James Corden is a talentless bag of garbage. Goodbye, good riddance. Finally, we don't want him anymore. Ruins everything he's involved in. Probably one of the most annoying people in the business, it seems. Please don't come back to the...
Yeah, there's only like 2 people, well 3. There's only 3 people I can think of that have a reputation this dog shit. Like, where collectively the majority of people are like, everything you touch is bad. You make everything you're around worse. It's James Corden, Amy Schumer, and Brendan Schaub. Those are the only 3 I can think of. It's like this crazy trio of just misery because they're in so many things and everything they're in is much, much, much worse because of their presence. Ellen only has her show. Ellen only has a show that she ruined. Well, her show is just bad. Like, her show is just bad. But those 3 are in a ton of things. Brendan Schaub is on all kinds of podcasts. Brendan Schaub has stand-ups everywhere. So he's in a lot of places. James Corden infests so much shit in media. Same with Amy Schumer. But yeah, I mean, I would agree, like, Jared Leto's another really good example, but his is mainly just, like, a movie every year. Like, James Corden, at his peak, was in, like, 4 or 5 productions a year. Thanks to the resub. Abrasive, John Silver, Punk Chick, Choking, Wasinde, J, Ledge, Major, Wook, Average, Dat Boy, and Tier 1 River. God, that'd be crazy, Quill. Putting them all in this, like, a single movie. Thanks to Prime Darth and Brewski. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's in a lot of shit, but I don't think he makes it worse. I think he just chooses absolutely terrible projects to be a part of. I don't dislike Kevin Hart. I dislike the things he's in. He is not the reason those things are bad. He's the Prime Forest.
UK, please don't come back to the UK, please don't come back to the UK, with each of these comments being accompanied by flattering articles such as, farewell James Corden, you were an asshole.
What a great, who wrote that? Was that Vice? A nice look at the history of James Corden. Thank you, Sonny.